There's this narrative around bipolar disorder that paints it as a pitiful way to live. But for some creatives, those swings between euphoria and despair can fuel some of the most powerful work you'll ever witness. For some designers, it's not a curse, it's a superpower. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and today we're going to talk about what it's like to live with bipolar disorder as a designer. Not because I want to, but because I feel like I have to. You know, I've worked with some brilliant, gifted creatives over the years, people who had the kind of talent that makes you feel like the rest of us are just cosplaying designers. And some of them, well, they're not here with us anymore. They couldn't find that critical balance. They couldn't see that the thing that made them feel broken was also the thing that made them brilliant. So yeah, this one's personal. There's a reason so many of us are drawn to this profession. Unlike, say, accounting, harnessing your emotions here, even in their extreme, is not just acceptable, it's encouraged. If you're like me, when you're riding a hypomanic wave, your mind is a fireworks display. Ideas are exploding faster than you can sketch them. You see the connections no one else can. You feel invincible, like you're channeling something from another realm. The visionary fashion designer Alexander McQueen once said of his mania, "I get so high, I don't even realize what I'm doing. It's like a trance." McQueen was able to turn his manic energy into runway shows that felt like fever dreams. They were violent, ethereal, unforgettable. His work was a haunting collision of beauty and brutality, a raw, unfiltered expression of his own inner chaos. And that chaos, it made him a legend. Isabella Blow, who discovered McQueen, had a similar intensity. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and had an almost prophetic sense of what would captivate and shock the world. She was always ahead of the curve, curating the kind of dark, glamorous imagery that could only come from a mind that sees the world a little differently. And I get it. When I'm up, I can start like 5 projects at once, all of which I'm convinced could change the world. My brain is electric. I get so lost in the frenzy that I can forget to eat, forget to sleep, forget that I'm human. But the thing about the highs is, they don't last. And the higher you soar, well, the harder the landing. Kate Spade was known for her joyful, colorful designs. But beneath all that whimsy was a woman struggling to stay afloat. Her sister later said that she was deeply affected by her bipolar disorder, but kept it hidden behind a perfectly curated image. That's the thing about the lows. They're isolating. Your mind, once a fireworks display of creativity, is now a foggy, endless gray. You stare at a blank page, unable to remember the spark that once set your brain on fire. The silence is deafening. For me, the lows feel like being buried alive. The projects that seemed so brilliant yesterday now feel like garbage. The world loses its color, the ideas dry up, and all that manic energy, it's gone, leaving behind exhaustion and shame. But in that silence, there's also clarity. When you strip away all that noise, you get to the essence of an idea. It's when you can see your work from a distance, not as a frenzied collection of fragments, but as a cohesive whole. Derek Hess, a concert poster artist so iconic that his work is showcased in the Louvre, has been really open about using his art to process his bipolar disorder. His work is raw, haunting, and visceral. Each piece a glimpse into the battle raging in his mind. The dark, heavy lines reflect his inner turmoil, but they also ground him, giving form to what feels uncontainable. And that's the balance right there. In the lows, you find the truth. In that silence, you find the meaning. And when the chaos fades, that's when you can edit, refine, distill. That's when the work gets real. I found that the key to living with bipolar disorder as a professional creative is learning to navigate the spaces in between the highs and lows. It's knowing when to run with an idea, when to let it pour out of you without overthinking, and then when to step back and edit. McQueen said that his best work often came after a crash, when he could finally see what he had made with a clearer head. When the mania fades, you can sift through the chaos and find the gold. You can see which ideas are worth keeping and which were just sparks that burned too hot, too fast. For Isabella Blow, the darkness never really left her. But even in her darkest moments, she remained a relentless curator of beauty. She could take the most grotesque, unsettling imagery and turn it into something captivating, something unforgettable. She didn't run from the darkness. She embraced it and used it to create work that was both haunting and glamorous. For Hess, art became both a release and a roadmap. His pieces are visual diaries. They're raw, unfiltered expressions of what it feels like to have your mind betray you. But instead of letting that darkness consume him, he used it to create a body of work that speaks to anyone who has ever felt trapped in their own mind. Bipolar isn't a curse. It's a rhythm. A dance between two extremes. A pendulum that swings from light to dark and back again. And in that dance, there is power. There's clarity. There's magic. McQueen, Spade, Hess, they weren't just designers. They were storytellers, taking what they saw in their minds and turning it into art that made the rest of us feel something. They were survivors, using their work to make sense of the chaos inside them. For me, it's the same. The highs are thrilling. The lows are brutal, but in between those extremes is where my best work happens. It's the work that matters, the work that's honest, the work that makes me feel seen. But here's a fact I seriously considered leaving out of this video. 3 out of the 4 icons I've highlighted here died by suicide. And I wrestled with their inclusion because I wanted this to be a message of hope. I wanted to leave you with the impression that it can all work out in the end. But if it didn't work out for these legends with all of the resources available to them, how can we mere mortals be hopeful? Here's another fact. It is extremely difficult for me to get life insurance because statistically, this won't end well for me. But I'm still fucking here. And so are you. We're already beating the odds. So let's do this. Let's die old and happy, with a body of inspiring work so massive that people get bored of us. If you're struggling right now, clearly you're not alone. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and there are resources that can help. I'm going to link them in the description below, along with my email address. Reach out if you need to. Seriously, the world needs its creatives, especially right now. And if you're feeling like your mind is too chaotic, it's too loud, too much, remember that the chaos is just part of your process. Embrace it. Use it. It's the yin and yang of you. And if you can't quite see that right now, it's totally fine. Just ask for a second set of eyes on it. Because you fucking matter, you beautiful disaster, you. Now, go make something inspiring. I'll be here when you get back.